In today's news, the timing of the US and UK Ripple stablecoin is too good to be true. It's impeccable, sort of like this has been the plan from the very beginning. We are less than 20 days away now before USDT Tether has to face the music, and concerns for Tether's future are obviously growing due to the EU's quote problematic stablecoin MiCA stablecoin requirements, and Ripple will release their stablecoin meeting every one of these requirements for these new rules and regulations. Crypto exchanges are starting to consider taking action, with Kraken for one considering delisting stablecoins that do not comply with MiCA standard ahead of its implementation on June 30th, less than 20 days away. And we have also been seeing similar sources surfacing suggesting Binance Exchange is doing the same thing. And now seemingly Ripple are very prepared, as we can see in this interview with Ripple's managing director of the Middle East and Asia, Reese Merrick. He confirms that the company is now officially ready to launch its stablecoin amidst the ongoing uncertainty in the SEC versus XRP case. Get ready for an explosion in the price of XRP. Listen closely.
So Ripple, obviously announced that we are going to be launching our own stablecoin. I think this was an obvious step for Ripple. You know, the market currently sits at about $150 billion. I think it's forecasted to reach 2.83 trillion by 2028. So clearly there's firstly huge demand for a compliance first, regulatory kind of adapt business to kind of enter the space. I would also say that where we've seen kind of feedback from customers within stablecoins is having a US dollar backed stablecoin. 60% of global trade or global transactions are actually US dollar settled, and not all of them are actually settled in the US. I think if you look at the Middle East and the GCC region, a number of countries here are actually pegged to the USD. So we believe that there's definitely a need for a US dollar backed stablecoin to really enhance kind of cross-border settlement, not only across this region, but more broadly, more globally.
Okay, and what's the unique selling point of the Ripple stablecoin compared to that of USDC Circle or USDT Tether?
I would say that Ripple have spent 12 years in building out a cross-border payment offering. We have the infrastructure. The stablecoin was the next evolution of that. So it actually gives our customers optionality into how they want to receive, whether it's fiat, whether it's stablecoin. So really, we feel like we've got the infrastructure. This is just an additional kind of layer to that to kind of build off.
This is colossal, very big news. Of course, leading members of Ripple, such as the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse himself, have already publicly stated that the SEC has lost. As we are now just awaiting the court's decisions for Ripple's final verdict, the final judgment, and with regulations literally weeks away, just around the corner, there is a possibility, a growing possibility, that Ripple will conveniently release their stablecoin this month before MiCA's implemented. Reese Merrick, as you just heard, confirmed they are now ready to launch. And it looks like Ripple are putting the final pieces of their preparation of their puzzle together right now, as Ripple has just allocated 1 billion XRP to East Asia, in Japan and Korea, totaling around $490 million to drive the growth and advancement of the XRP ledger ecosystem. So just you wait until XRP is valued accurately, when XRP's true value comes to light, because it is clear that Ripple is strategically laying the groundwork for widespread adoption. But that is not all. In an even bigger bombshell announcement from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse just yesterday, 2 major acquisitions of Ripple has happened in the past year, and they're now under Ripple's belt with Metaco and Standard Custody. And now we have a big welcome to Jack McDonald. Jack is no stranger to the XRP ledger ecosystem and to Brad Garlinghouse, and Brad is thrilled to have him join the team Ripple, leading our stablecoin initiatives. That is right. So it looks like Ripple now have a new senior vice president, and it is now official that Ripple yesterday announced their acquisition of Standard Custody has now been finalized. And importantly, it also brings a certain license to Ripple. Standard custody has been granted charter status by the New York State Department of Financial Services, the NYDFS, permitting the company to offer custodial and escrow services for clients. Another critical piece of infrastructure in place for Ripple's institutional clients has now been finalized, and this will be fundamental to Ripple's stablecoin business, where customers will be able to hold stablecoins securely along with crypto assets. And also, don't forget who are on the board of Standard Custody already, this just proves how big of a move this truly is. You have Tim Keeney, the vice chairman, who is a retired vice chairman of BNY Mellon, one of the biggest institutions, biggest financial institutions, biggest banks in the world. This is an absolute bombshell announcement. An institutional adoption of crypto is here, and it is growing. These here are the titles of these high-level financial institution panels, what the 1% elites are talking about time and time again, and they are forecasting the growth of the crypto market, and they are being extremely clear the phase we are in and the direction we are headed soon with crypto. Institutional adoption. Major financial institutions are currently currently taking the wait and see approach, as they are waiting for their peers to make the first move, and regulations that are imminent, 20 days away now, less than that, will push that first move for these institutions to jump on board to see trillions of dollars pumping into the crypto market. And after that, all at once, everything will just flip the switch and we'll see trillions flooding into Ripple and XRP. This is how it happens. Crypto assets being incorporated into payment systems. As we can see, you have Cash App, Google, Coinbase, all talking about the very same thing. Crypto assets are being used on the back end of traditional payment systems to facilitate transactions in a faster and cheaper way, while the consumer, while the customers, while you are completely unaware of this happening. But it's happening behind the scenes. Crypto will thrive regardless, and Ripple, they are going to be a leader, the leaders in this transformation. They've been doing it from the shadows for years and years now, but not just because of their new imminent release of their stablecoin, but because Ripple have the capital, they have the infrastructure, they have the technology, they have the partnerships to succeed. We can see in this conference, in this interview with Marcus Infranga, Senior Vice President of Ripple X, outlining the direction of Ripple, stating that we are engaging with dozens of central banks, the leading banks, to keep the money for their respective countries. Pay close attention.
You're running quite a lot of innovative projects at Ripple. Can you explain a little bit about the direction you guys are heading?
Yes, so I talk a little bit about the XRP Ledger, which is essentially public open source blockchain that Ripple works with and is one of the core developers alongside other developers. And so that blockchain was essentially designed with sort of institutional grade financial use cases in mind. So it's very cheap to make a transaction, fraction of a cent. It's very fast, 3 to 5 seconds, and it's scalable, and it has been battle tested. It's had 2.5 billion transactions in its 11-year history, more than any other blockchain, and has never had any security breach or something alike. And so it was designed with things like payments in mind, but we see also a lot of tokenization happening, non-fungible and functional as fungible. So for example, there's real estate projects. One is called Proper Home, based in Portugal, who are building a real estate market to buy, sell and rent property on the XRP Ledger. There's carbon credit or carbon market projects that help to basically make sure carbon credits are counted correctly and not double counted and so forth. And then there's a lot of efforts from our side for CBDCs as well. We're engaging with like 12 or dozens of central banks. 4 pilots have been publicly announced already. And so there's a lot of interest from kind of like stablecoin side as well. And so we definitely put a lot of emphasis on sort of like this notion of institutional adoption of blockchain finance. And then on the Ripple net side of our house, we sort of help to really abstract these complexities to be able to interact, the seamless user experience, this usability that sometimes lacks if you need to plug in directly with these protocols. And so that's kind of like how we use this blockchain, for example.
And are you happy with the current, let's say, rule book? Because we talked about trust and rule book before. For now, happy, they should simply leave it for 3 years and...
I wouldn't say that's quite the truth. I mean, we have been very passionate about engaging with regulators. We have engaged with a lot of regulators. There's a lot of positive developments in places like Singapore, Japan, Brazil, the UAE, where you see really, and obviously the EU, right, with MiCA. It's maybe not, you know, as a crypto native person, it's not perfect, but at least it's clear. Whereas in the US, which is obviously a very important market, you see this, you know, kind of like this clarity being resolved through litigation, which I personally believe is not the most constructive.
And litigation.
Ripple is the future. As they continue their developments, like this post here from Smoke, XRP Ledger facial recognition for authentication and payment verification, decentralized identity, biometrics, all part of the bigger plan, and offline usage. No need to keep track of private keys. This is game changing. With these developments taking place, Ripple's partnerships with the biggest and most powerful institutions, central banks and governments, with Ripple's imminent launch of their new stablecoin, and as regulations are just around the corner, all the pieces are in play for a sudden explosion in adoption and price for XRP. As we've just seen, Asia is being prepared right now. The final pieces of the puzzle for Ripple are now being finalized. So it's time that you prepare, and it's time you do the same. Don't look short term, think long term. And I'll see you in the next one.